Well, hey, ladies and gents, we're back with another piece to our series on sourdough starter and the process it takes to get yourself a good dough and sponge. Basically, this is day 2 of our sourdough starter, and as you can see, it's been covered here on the counter. And this, my friends, is what it looks like. As you can see, the bubbles starting to form. Now, last night, before I went to bed, I gave it some more warm water and another half a cup of all-purpose flour. I would say don't go crazy on the different kinds of flours, because really you're going to change kind of the biometrics of it all. But it's really just a simple process, and then once you establish your starter and it's alive and it's bubbly and it's ready to make bread, then you want to add your different flours. All-purpose flour is really what I use. It's simple, basic stuff, and it doesn't really change anything about the makeup of it. You're really not going to get the glutens because, like I said before, it's breaking it down. So this here is the bubbly that's going to go back in the fridge. And don't worry if you get a little bit of crusty on there. A lot of times, if it gets too much of that, I will take this out and then wash the container and then reestablish it. Really, this is a great temp to go back in the fridge, and this one is going to stay on the counter. So while we let this bubble, this one's going to go back in, and I will set you down, and I'll put this in the fridge, and this will be for next time. Next time we do some starter. So what I'm going to do right now is probably going to be scary for some people, because oh my goodness, you got this great mix, and now you're gonna take some out. Well, normally I would just throw it down the sink, but if I'm going to make a lot of bread, or if I'm going to maybe make something other than just bread, maybe I want to make some pizza or some something else, I would simply start a new batch with my discard. So I'm going to take some of this and just throw it in to another bowl. Here we go. It's kind of slippery. Take off the back. So, take maybe a couple more scoops, maybe another scoop. So I'd say it's probably about cup and a half, cup and a half for each one of them. After you do this for a while, you tend to know the measurements just by looking at stuff. Maybe it's a mom thing, not sure. But anyway, so now that I've split it, what it's doing is it's allowing it to not have to fight for survival, fight for food. I'm going to do about a half a cup in each. And then I'm going to stir it down. Just get it. Again, this is the feeding process. and you're doing it to kind of revitalize your yeast. And of course, depending on where you are or where you live, you're going to have different yeast spores. I know that sounds crazy, but you're going to have different yeasts in the air depending on where you live, what region you're in. When we were in Hawaii, believe it or not, my bread tasted a little different than it does here. And so now I have different components that make up my sourdough bread. This is why, like, sourdough in San Francisco tastes different than the sourdough in Wisconsin. It's just the environment's different. There's different stuff in the air. I don't know how to describe it, but really, everybody's bread tastes different too. Just different ways that their house is made up, and maybe their parts of the country that they're in are warmer or colder or more humid or whatnot. So I'm going to take and do a half a cup of water and a half a cup of flour in each one of these, and just stir it down. Now, depending on your consistency, you might want to do something a little more liquidy or a little bit more putty-like. If you have it more liquidy, you're going to probably see the bubbles a little more than the more putty-like. The putty-like, it's heavier, and so you're not going to see the bubbles as much, but it's definitely living. It's definitely doing what it's supposed to. Now, I don't stir it down too much, but I do get most of that flour stirred in to give it that consistency that I want, so it can break down the glutens in that flour and really just come alive. So much better for you than the dough enhancers and the stuff you get in the store. And it tastes better too because it's natural and it's from home. My bread is actually really good too. You guys, once you guys walk through with me making the sourdough, you'll see how simple the ingredients are. Literally, I just add flour, oil, I use olive oil, honey is my sweetener, and salt, and water. And the water is usually coming from like just 1 cup of water. So it's really simple stuff. Now, a lot of people put different herbs and seasonings in mine. A go-to favorite of mine is caraway dough. I love the combination of that. It's fresh and it tastes like herbaceous. And a lot of times when I'm taking a sponge like this, I'll turn it into pizza dough. Which, by the way, I got somebody that has a food truck that wants me to share some of my sourdough with him today over at Farmer's Market. So I'm gonna put together one of these, I think, and make it into pizza dough. See what they think. I guess they wanted to try out what pizza dough or sourdough tastes like in their pizza truck. I guess most people don't use sourdough for their crust. I sure as heck do. It's great stuff. So anyway, I'm going to take this and leave it on my counter again for another day. I'll probably give it another feeding tonight, and tomorrow we should be making some sourdough. So ask me any questions you want. You know, I can give you some details in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll continue this journey together. Thanks for watching. See ya.